Welcome to the Vision Profiles podcast. Join us, dedicated Apple Vision Pro users, as we dive into the hardware and software and the apps and the latest updates in the world of Apple Vision Pro. I'm Marty, a faculty member at a Midwest University, podcaster, and an Apple product fan. And with me,
I'm Eric Bolden. I work in IT, but my interest is in digging holes and finding new ways to share content, currently photography of plants, birds, panoramic sequences, and maybe chickens.
Chickens. You've advanced to chickens.
The chicks love me. What can I say?
Yeah. The chicks. Yeah, the chicks dig Eric.
The chicks dig you.
And we have David Ginsburg with us tonight, an Apple Vision Pro user and the mastermind behind In Touch with iOS. And he's really, I think, enjoying his Apple Vision Pro. And it's nice to have him stop in and join the discussion. It's a thin week this week, but I know David's got some things coming up that we'll share as the show goes on. I'm glad to have you with us tonight.
Thanks for having me. As always, a great time being here with you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, it's good to have you. You always add some good depth to what we're talking about and add some impact with it too, which is very good. So how was your week, folks? Anything new with your Apple Vision Pro?
Other than beta just hit as we record.
Yeah, you're right about that. Eric, anything new with you? We'll talk about beta in a minute.
Yeah.
Well, when we get to apps, I've got new uses for an app we covered once before.
Okay.
Especially in the spring when you're wandering around the woods and crawly things want to get you.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Yeah.
So as David said, there was a beta that dropped today, and I was in a meeting all day long with 15-minute breaks, and I was chairing the meeting. But at one of those breaks, I'm like, I am just going to see if there happens to be a beta drop. And originally, I did it in the morning, and there was no beta, of course. But this was after, they usually drop them around 10 o'clock. And this was after 10 o'clock. And sure enough, I put my Vision Pro headset on and fired it up, and there was a beta. It was beta 2.5.4. But I guess they also released a bunch of other betas too, along with it in that. And so I figured the thing's dropped. There's got to be something on it. And just searched it. Nothing on the web on it. We do have an article from 9 to 5 Mac that does have a link for the VisionOS, the watchOS, and the tvOS. And all of those were released today, beta 4 versions of that for developers. As soon as it was released, I went and I searched for information from Apple on their developer site. And they didn't even have a page on it. They still had the 2.5.3 developer notes. Now, I haven't checked it, so maybe as you guys are talking, I'll check to see. But there's not. The articles are getting kind of sad because they're just admitting there's really nothing that anybody releases that can tell you anything new. Ideas?
It just seems like the beta cycle for Vision Pro has been just bug fixes and stability improvements. I mean, it's interesting to see this with iPhone. There tends to be some things that are fixed. iPad as well. tvOS you don't see much, and watchOS rarely you see anything. So it seems like that Vision Pro is staying consistent to those other devices I mentioned besides iPhone, adding some some good new features.
Yeah, so they do have they have the beta. Yeah, they have the beta 4 release notes.
Okay.
Hot
off the press.
I'll put a link in the show to that. and also send it to us in our chat. So if you want to take a look at it, really not a lot there. It is personal hotspot issues. They're still having problems with FaceTime calls that might fail when initiated using certain configurations of personal hotspot. They fixed. We can finally play Amazon Music.
Oh, I was missing that.
Request to play wait a minute, fixed. Request to play Amazon Music on Amazon Music do not work. So that's been fixed. That's been a perennial problem that's shown up in the previous beta versions. And then some resolved issues with the store kit. And that's about it. That's all that's on the notes of what's new with it. So yeah, it's they said the article talks about very unlikely at this stage you're going to see any major big addition to it. It's all going to be bug fixes prior to the release. Right. And we'll see 3.0 drop at WWDC. Is that right?
I would think so.
Usually, yeah.
All right.
Unless something really big happens and we see 4.0.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to skip a version just because they realize that there's nothing going on, so they'll just skip the version. News. Did you take the trip, the immersive trip of the passenger car? What was it called? Hill.
And I didn't even have to close my eyes. I made it all the way to the top.
Dave, did you try this? The hill climb?
No.
It's good.
I'm now hearing about it. So I got there's some homework after the show tonight.
It's the storyline is a woman race car driver wants to break the record, or at least get the under 10-minute record from the base of Pikes Peak to the summit of Pikes Peak. And my favorite part is when she pulls over halfway through the drive and throws up. Oh, no, that was me.
I didn't see that part. I blinked a couple of times, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. It really is not nauseating, engaging at all. That was just kind of a joke about it, but she is kicking it at like 120 miles an hour, and it's not a straight road. I think they said 150 turns or 52 turns or something like 52 turns, I think, to get to the summit. And at those speeds, she really has to gauge it. Did you see anything interesting with the photography, Eric?
It was really interesting because they had one camera in the car, so you got the close-up shots, and they had a chase car, and then they had some stationary cameras, as well as a helicopter. So they had a bunch of different ways of filming it, and they did a pretty nice job of cuts between, and there was enough dialogue so that you knew, early on in the race she was a little bit behind the time she needed, and there was commentary about road conditions and things that you were basically, if you were going to get nervous, they made sure you knew why you were going to be nervous at each part. But in a relatively tasteful way, and I enjoyed it.
With the camera, I stopped watching the story for a while and started paying more attention to the cameras. And there was a scene that it was almost like the camera was suspended by her car, outside the car and shooting in. And then they would and I'm like, well, is that mounted on the car? And why would they do that in a race like this? I don't know how they got that shot. You said that there were chase cars
There was a second car, and there were moments where a car could come alongside from an on-ramp or secondary ramp next to the road, and they could pull up and accelerate up, get ready, and then basically meet her as she was coming by. And so you got a short sequence. I have no
Yeah,
idea how many different cars they needed to do that.
yeah.
And then there was animations, so you kind of knew where you were along the hill and could kind of watch. And they divided the race up into stages, so you could see, well, I'm at this part and this part and this part.
Yeah, early on there was that side shot into the car, and it was almost that's what I thought, is there
Yeah.
a camera on this thing? But then they'd show up the chase car shot and you didn't see any other appendages on the car. So it must have been that way, but it was cut so tight that it wasn't you didn't get the sense of
You
that
didn't notice.
there's a car moving up. It's
Yeah.
almost like the car is there. And I
But I
think it
think there was
actually
a
zoomed.
well, I think there was a camera mounted in the seat next to her
Yeah, yeah.
as well. So yeah, but
Yeah, but this was an
the
exterior shot that
exterior,
came
yeah,
in.
that
And
was
I
that
thought,
second. Yeah.
yeah, it must have been the second car. And then when I realized there was one shot where you really can tell there's something moving up next to the car, I said, okay, that's got to be a second car. What path did it come off of? And they would do some overhead helicopter shots, and
Yep.
you'd look
You could
for
see the
access
shadow.
roads, or
Well,
you'd look
yeah.
for you'd also look for access roads. And so it must have came on at that point and done the shot because it
Yeah.
wasn't following her up there the whole time. It was interesting. And there was another shot that I couldn't figure out how it was done other than it was a drone. And it's like the car is coming right at you.
Wow.
And you've seen those shots in movies where cars come at you and then, but there's obviously nobody's sitting in the middle of the road with a camera. And then the car kind of goes under it and
There.
over. And so I didn't know if there was a boom and she drove under that boom and got that effect or what it was. But I return to the story. We won't do any spoilers here. But it was interesting video to watch, different than the other ones. So
Got it queued up,
you,
ready to go in my Vision Pro app here on my iPhone.
Yeah.
yeah. And then I noticed something else with Spatial Gallery, and the Spatial Gallery has added some photos in it. And normally I wouldn't go back, but I saw some teaser about Spatial Gallery having pictures from Kazakhstan and also Nigeria, and have colleagues who have gone to Kazakhstan, and so I looked again in the Spatial Gallery, and I enjoy it more as an app now than I did the first time. I still want to have something else out of it, but it was pretty cool. It was very cool. And I saw some things I hadn't seen in there, so I assumed those got added when I wasn't paying attention. So you might want to check out Vision Pro Spatial Gallery if you haven't looked at it in a bit.
This one I didn't see that they have added on here for it's step onto the set of Ted Lasso to explore the making. Is that pretty new, or I don't remember seeing that.
What that's in
Spatial Gallery last week, or was that real?
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, that was neat. And there's one where there's travel by motorcycle that was kind of neat because it's going through a bunch of traffic. And somehow I missed the one. There's a sequence of 3 different films that starts with an elephant. That was nicely. It looked really good.
Yeah.
Take a trip to India. I saw that too. Immersive video. That must have just came out too.
So it's nice, and it's not all coming from one source, but they're all pretty decent videos.
Okay, when I started searching for feeds this week and things to look at, all I could get were articles about the Vision Pro Air, or whatever you wish to call it. It's the new
rumor.
Yeah, but what they're doing is they're kind of going after they're they're going after everything that Gurman has said, basically.
Pretty much.
So it's been a little bit of a extension from the previous interviews that he's given, where they're focusing on Vision Pro. And one of the things that you'll see, if I can get this set up right, is the fact that there's just a ton of articles on it at this time. So I don't know what to tell you. It's he extends his logic into saying that we're going to see something like an Apple Vision Air sometime this year. I don't know what you think about that.
Just the constant rumors. I mean, we keep saying that Vision Pro is a dud. It failed. It's an epic failure. I mean, Gurman says that all the time, and it gets tiresome after a while. Honestly, it's not for everybody. We've talked about this plenty of times, and is something going to come out that's new? Probably. I don't think Apple has a major priority with it at the moment, with all other things that are going on. But it's very possible next year we're probably talking. I don't think this is going to be this year. So,
yeah, it would be a lot if it was this year. Mac Observer article: Apple plans to launch a lighter version of headset by early 2026. But some of the current articles are saying, "Oh no, we're going to see this by the end of the year." Yeah. Here's one from 9 to 5 Mac. It's going to be lighter, cheaper, and might arrive this year.
That's not on the contrary what Gurman was said this past week. So,
yeah. Then here's a Mac Observer. They work both sides of the audience. Vision Pro was too expensive to fail. Will Vision Air be cheap enough to succeed?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Vision Pro's price point was never sustainable. So yeah.
I'm sorry, that's a little clickbaity to me.
Yeah.
And then this comes out of Extreme Tech. Apple sees double with upcoming Vision Pro headsets. Vision Pro is getting long in the tooth. The company appears to have a version 2 on the horizon. In fact, according to Bloomberg, Apple may have 2 models in the works. They could arrive late 2025 or early 2026. Those
towards
2026, yeah. And it's not going to make their Christmas list. They've got too much other stuff going, and they have to straighten out Apple Intelligence. And then another article and Siri, yeah. Another article talking about the next Apple Vision Pro could drop sooner than you think. This coming from there's Siri. Siri is talking to me. I need to stop saying her name because now I'm sure everybody's hearing from her. The next Apple Vision Pro could drop sooner than you think. It's reportedly going to be lighter and cheaper too.
Possible.
I don't know. It kind of feels, yeah.
Just like you said, like Meta was rushing to get out those smart glasses soon, and they're trying to beat Apple its own game here. I'm sure they say Apple's looking at something like that as well. That'd be similar to what the Vision Pro is. I don't think it'd be anywhere near what the technology that the Vision Pro has. But
yeah, it just doesn't seem like it's going to work out in a way that we're going to have it in time for anything. I don't know. I would, when Gurman says things like late 2025 or early 2026, he's really hedging his bet. He wins either way is the way to say it. I really meant it was going to be a new version of Vision Pro, not a Vision Pro Air. But, but I did get it right. It was going to come out sometime in 2026. So not a lot going on with Vision News. There is and I think Dave, you talked about this about Apple working on getting support. The article came out last Wednesday, and so we didn't catch it, but I think you catched it on the on your show, In Touch with iOS. Apple working on VisionOS support for Go.Game Engine. And
we talked about that.
yeah.
And
this is a cool,
pronounced Godot, like
Godot,
Godot.
like
Yeah.
or waiting for Godot. So yeah, this is also the article that has to end it off by taking some gold, which is Apple's going to be working with game developers for the Vision Pro, and as I like to say, gilding it with a turd. Where they end the article off by saying Vision Pro has so far seen lackluster sales and waning interest in Apple users, both due to the high cost, et cetera, et cetera. However, Apple's working on future versions of Vision Pro, so laying the groundwork for development. That was one, and then I found one that came out this week off of Road to VR. Apple is adding VisionOS support to open source game engine to expand development options. Not a lot more in here. Like the popular Unity and Unreal game engines, Godot is a collection of development tools that make it easy for developers to build real-time games and applications. It's directly adding VisionOS support to Godot, making it possible for developers to build and distribute Vision Pro content and engines. And of course, the engineer shared the company's plans to be able to do that. It's open source process, so that's also good. This article, I think, spends a little more time with it than, and this just came out today, so they might have had time to actually do some groundwork on it and spend a little more time thinking about the implications of Apple providing that kind of support than Mac Observer did, or what was it? It was Mac Rumors.
9 to 5 Mac Rumors.
Yeah, Mac Rumors came out with the article, the past article. So now let's go to this piece, which I think is pretty cool. And I don't know if you found it or I found it, but it wound up in our text messaging together. And I think you posted it, but I had seen it earlier. The idea that Siri can be, I gotta stop saying the S lady.
S lady.
I gotta stop saying the real name of the S lady. Sheila is what I call mine. But it can be used for voice commands. And today,
and they work.
And I know that because today I was looking for Spatial Gallery to find, to look at these new pictures that we talked about from Kazakhstan and from Nigeria. And I've got about 10 pages of apps now and started to page through it. And then I thought, I really don't know what the icon looks like. And they're not in alphabetical order, but I know what it's called. So I asked Sheila to open that app, and it opened it right away. And I was like, wow, this stuff works. So Eric, why don't you talk a little bit more about this find? And Dave, you can, of course, chime in. Have you done much with the S Lady and Vision Pro, Dave?
Not a whole lot. I need to do more just to get a good comfort level with it. With everything going on with S Lady lately, I'm just had such hesitation with trying anything at this point until they get their act together with it in general. But I need to go back and try some more. But I'd like to be here. Interesting to hear what Derek's thought is on it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Eric.
We've got a link in the notes that links into a Reddit post where they describe this. There also are comments off the Reddit post, and in the comments, people have left a bunch of additional or kind of fine-tuned ways of either doing the same commands or similar commands. And I think that when they were doing testing in the headset, there are certain things like changing environments or switching from daytime to nighttime that are just annoying. There are lots of levels. So they tried using, the S Lady commands, and it needed to work because anything else involved lots of clicks and lots of going back and forth in menus, and it is not reasonable. One of the first places I hit it was trying to figure out how to take a screenshot. And finally I came across something that said, well, just say, hey, S Lady, take a screenshot. And it worked.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Now,
And
but
the other place that
isn't taking a screenshot, press the crown and press the action button? Well, doesn't that do
yeah,
screen share?
kind of. I think so. Kind of. It's supposed to, but sometimes you're in a mode where you've got a bunch of stuff set up, and then when you press it, it may undo it or
Yeah,
change
okay.
something. I don't know. I found it was annoying, and saying I just wanted to take a screenshot. It worked. It did what I wanted to do. And I was impressed. One of the other things I hit, and actually a lot of people have hit it, is how do you restart the Vision Pro, or how do you shut it down? Because some people have a problem when they put it down, they leave it, they go away, they come back a long time later, and then it just doesn't seem to wake up quite right. And so being able to either reboot or shut it down, it's not intuitive how you do it. Like, you can figure it out, you can wander through menus, you can push buttons until something happens, but you can just say, hey, S Lady, reboot my headset, or turn off my headset, and it turns it off or reboots it. So and being able to say close an app, that's also something that's kind of nice, because sometimes I can't quite figure out where the app is, or it's off to the side or something, or I've got a bunch of different things open, and being able to just say, yeah, I know I don't want that particular app. S Lady, close app, whatever the name of the app is. And watching a movie and then saying, hey, turn the subtitles on or turn the subtitles off. That's also useful, because I don't always want them on, but then I get to a part where everybody's talking and it's a noisy environment that I want it on, and so on. Some people have had problems with the show environments. Well, show environments lets you see all the environments and you pick it, but you can also do a show a specific environment, and there's a couple where the names sometimes don't get interpreted properly. But your mileage may vary.
Yeah, I think the original poster wanted this thread to kind of be, okay, let's play with this. Here are the things that have worked for me. You guys want to try some stuff out, post to this thread, and let's see how many ideas we can have coming up. And I appreciate that. But even just the list that's here makes you want to try them if you can remember them, and also makes you just want to experiment and just see what else Sheila can do. So,
yeah. Well, and this gives me more confidence that things will get better than just about anything else out there. Especially since the Vision Pro team seems to be involved in trying to make things better in Mac OS and iOS. So I see that as a good sign.
All right. Well, you can follow the live stream on YouTube at youtube.com/@visionprofiles on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, or catch the video later on YouTube or the audio on any pod catcher service that you have. Just look for Vision ProFiles. David, why don't you take a little minute and talk about what kind of things you're up to? Mac stock, and you've got some presentations you're doing coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, I just was invited to speak at the Naples, Florida Mac user group this coming Wednesday as we record this. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to talk about iPhone 16e and a little bit of some tips on Vision Pro. And so that's going to be kind of a fun event to be part of. And that's a really big Mac user group. So it's going to be a lot of fun to do that. And Mac stock, God, I keep looking at the number every day. It's 74 days away as we record here. It's going to be here in no time. I haven't even started on my presentation yet, but I know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah.
I
haven't started on mine, and I have agreed to talk about Apple Intelligence. So I'm kind of waiting for the last minute to see if we get some improvements in AI.
Something changes.
Yeah.
I'll be talking about screen capturing. That's going to be my topic. So I'm looking forward to that. One of my favorites is Snagit, and maybe the Snagit will come. Maybe TechSmith will come out Snagit for the Vision Pro. Who knows? I don't know. That might be a tough one for them, but I would love it if they can pull something off like that. But at least this is a good start. I didn't even know you could do the screenshots that easily on the Vision Pro. So I'm learning everything. Always learn something from the show every week.
Well, I'm looking forward to you and looking forward to MacStock and looking forward to your presentation and we'll have another partner in crime with the headset. So we'll see what'll break out if you bring your headset with you.
Oh, I'll bring my. Don't you can guarantee I'm bringing my Vision Pro to the next lock. Come on now.
Yeah,
I was a little under the weather last year, and I didn't get to demo it when we were doing all those great demos. But this year, I'm going to make sure I'm not under the weather. I'm going to have a blast with that. Yeah,
I'm going to bring my son, and he's going to talk smack about me the whole time. So
that should be some entertainment.
He is a good and funny guy, and under all of that, sometimes he gets a little too much bravado with him. But under all of that, he's got a really kind soul, and as a father, you couldn't wish any more than having that. Having your child have a kind soul. So. It'll be fun to have him there, though. I get to also show off the gang. Yeah. So, we got apps. Eric, you kind of loaded us up. I was in this meeting all day and I texted Eric. I said, could you please dump some stuff in here? And I got some things in this morning. But thanks for putting in the apps. So let's go with the first app here, Beautiful Things.
So I don't know a ton about it, but I downloaded it and played with Beautiful Things when it first came out, and grabbed a couple of items and then was manipulated it. And what I ended up with is it was just frustrating. It was a little bit rough, but they recently updated it, and they said updating it for VisionOS 2.5. But the controls seem smoother. So when you grab an object and you go to manipulate the object and move it around, or when you say you want, like a full-size object in your room, it's easier to place. Since I didn't do enough with the original one, I don't know exactly what all of the differences are, but it was a pleasant experience.
Dave, just actually updated just today, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you played with this at all in terms of?
I have not. App? No, this is going to add another one. Add another one to my list here. It does have in-app purchase. It doesn't really say what you get out of that.
Let's see.
Beautiful.
It doesn't.
Beautiful Plus for $9.99.
I don't know if it's free. Oh, Beautiful Plus for $9.99. I wouldn't be surprised if I own it or I paid for it.
I wouldn't either.
That's just how I go.
That's how you roll.
That's how I roll. I do remember in the earlier version, because I was captivated by this idea of AI. And so typing in, like, I want a dog that with wings or something like that, and it will
Yep.
generate a 3D object, which is pretty cool. And then you can save it and store it. I think I got most introduced to this when I was in space, and I went to one meeting or one group meeting, and people were like putting out butterflies and putting out all sorts of cool objects that they had created with beautiful things. And I asked somebody about this. Yeah, this is where you go, and it introduced me into that 3D extension that's used for it, US something. And so I might have paid the 9.95 or nine bucks or $10 because it gave me some access to a larger inventory of objects to play with, or it gave me the AI capabilities. I can't remember what. So
it was fun. Ready for the next one?
I am ready for the next one.
Always ready.
So in Wisconsin, when you go wandering around outside, in the woods, or prairies or whatever, anywhere where there are deer, when you come back, you then have to go looking for ticks. So we talked about mirror vision. I don't know, last week maybe.
Yeah,
And so you can take your cell phone camera and you have it show up in a display in the Vision Pro. I think they used an example of if you're in a cube and you're facing away from the entrance of the cube, you can have your cell phone aimed at the door of the cube, and then you can see when somebody comes up behind you.
Talking about this.
So that's kind of neat. They also, in the recent version, they added an option so that you can have your phone aimed at an area, and then let's see, what's the motion? I think it's like a zoom in motion you can make, and that window changes to a clock and stays that way until the camera detects motion. When it detects motion, then it puts the video from the camera up in your view, which is kind of cool. Where I hit it was, so you have to, after you get back from the trip to the woods, then you need to go check to see if you've got ticks crawling around on you someplace so you can capture them. And since I found 2 ticks without much effort, I thought I should check everywhere for ticks. Depending on where you are, it is not really socially acceptable in a coffee shop to strip down and ask your neighbor, do they see any ticks on you? So this is a way you can just put up a camera and see everywhere without contorting. It's like going into one of those fitting rooms that's got the 3 mirrors, so you can see all of your sides. You just put your camera up and you can turn around. You can turn all the way around, and you get to see the view of the camera. Kind of neat. Not the best view. It's me. But
aren't you just a dork looking for ticks with your headset on?
yes, but while I now have a bottle collection of alcohol that's filled with ticks, I personally don't. And since I battled a tick disease a couple of years ago, I am overly sensitive to not having ticks hanging out.
Okay,
And this is a way to doing it without having to have help, which is normally how you have to do that.
This begs the question, why are you keeping a bottle of alcohol full of ticks?
Well, it's a bottle of alcohol. The ticks escape. They crawl, they're fast, right? So they're only, short of like doing drastic mutilations to ticks, just having a bottle of alcohol, you drop them in, that takes care of the ticks. And they don't come back. And if something happens and you get some rash, spot, whatever, you have the sample tick to take in to say, yes, I need to get tested for this tick disease and this other tick disease, and here is the tick that I pulled off of myself. So yes, it's valid to test me for that.
Hey, Dave, is this going to be a big use purpose for you?
No. I wish I had a squirrel repellent because all the squirrels in my backyard. I go back to the darn squirrel bit through my freaking fiber connection in my house. I had to
Oh,
call AT&T to come back out and rerun a whole new cable because of those varmints.
I had a
Wow.
dog who did that. She's sleeping in the other room. Um,
That's right.
Huh.
The dog is 6 years old, and I'm so grateful it stopped all that stuff. But it took about 5.5 years to get there. Um, yeah, and you have just convinced me another reason not to go out in the woods.
I mean, some people might prefer to have something like, you get your outfit and you can check behind you to make sure it's all straight and lint free and all that. There could be like a dressing up outfit perusal use. For me, I just want to get rid of ticks.
Or take a hand mirror, hold it up in front of you with a mirror behind you, and just kind of
Yeah,
do
but
the
my
axis
vision's
thing.
not that good. You've got this big heads up display and you can zoom in or out or whatever. You just need to see the motion of a little crawling body. Okay, now that we've grossed out our audience.
Motion of a little crawling body. Okay. I think we have beat this to a pulp. Let's
Yes,
go
we
on
have.
to the next one,
So
which,
I put in glance bar, and I can't. We may well have chatted about
yeah,
this once before,
yeah.
but there are a lot of these like tools that look cool when I first look at it. I try it. Like I had the lava lamp clock for a long
Yep.
time. And then I stopped using it. This is one that I put up. I've got a set of pictures, uh, play, pause, whatever button for music and calendar. And, it's like a stack of maybe 6 different things. And it sits off to my left, just a little bit outside my field of view of all my other stuff, and it is still there and I am still using it. I still find it useful. I get the time and date at the top. I know how bad the weather is and whatever other stuff underneath, and I'm finding it useful, and for me that's kind of unusual. So I thought I would give it extra credit for still being there a week later.
Yeah, I downloaded this when I think we first talked about it, and I liked it. I found it useful even then because it's kind of build your own stack of menus,
Yep.
which was cool. And you can start that up and go right to that when you need it. I'm just looking at the page right now, and folks in the video may not be able to see this, but they just did a 2.0 release,
Yep.
April 21st, and they call it the big 2.0 release. Well, the previous release was a 1.4 they did back in October. So this, I guess, is good that they've done the 2.0 release. It includes curving the bar, so you can have that kind of curved screen look if you want to have that. A photos module to show any set of photos you choose.
And it
Photos are
can be
displayed.
immersive.
Yeah, photos are displayed
Yeah.
using a 3D effect to really make the photos pop. And then finally, a music player module to easy play, pause, and skip tracks. And it works with
This
the
is
music app. So,
Yep.
pretty phenomenal here, and then only $5 in that purchase to
yep,
open up everything.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
yep. It's not a subscription.
Nope.
So that is pretty cool with that. And
You spent my money.
now now I'm going to return. Now I'm going to return. I got to return and play with this one a little bit, and set up some things, and then return to it to see how it
Yeah.
advances or improves this. Uh, Gary in the chat room said, "I live in tick country. Might have to check this out."
Yeah. See?
And then he
Yeah.
follows it up with, "This sounds like a spying app masquerading as a tick app." So,
That's possible.
so the idea that you can see what's going on behind you, like they're going to sneak up on you like ninjas. and you can get your reverse look. So with that, what would you do? Kind of hang the phone on the back of your head?
No, you just put the phone on a stand or a ledge or whatever, and then you can turn around. That's
Oh
the
no, but
neat thing.
if I'm walking through the woods, am I going to put it like on a selfie
No,
stick and then have it
you
shoot over
check
my
when you
shoulder?
get back.
No, but just in general. I mean, if you wanted to see what was sneaking up behind you.
Yeah, I think that would just make you sick. But looking at what's behind you is useful if you're in an office where the door is behind you.
Yeah.
Especially if you're, in a headset. Basically, anytime you're in an immersive environment, if you're trying to chill on the beach while you're getting some work done, there's nothing worse than having someone come up behind you and zap you because they can. This just
I
gives you because you can be in an immersive environment and still see it.
Okay, I'm not wearing a $3,500 unit that sucks in air on the beach. It
No,
just,
no, no. It's a virtual beach. Okay.
oh, I see
It's
what you
not a
mean.
real beach.
Not a
It's a
real
it
beach.
ba- basically it's you're closed off in a nice relaxing environment, finally able to focus and get work done. But if somebody can come up behind you and does on purpose because this is a way, or if you're sitting at work or sitting in a coffee shop and you just want to know, yes, someone's trying to get your attention or come up, you can do that thing where there's a breakthrough, where if a human, or I find a dog also, comes up, that they kind of fade in and ghost like into whatever you're doing, and then you can see, yeah, there's somebody there. But in an office environment, it's, you just have it sitting in a stand on your desk like you normally would. But there's a little heads up display that normally is a clock. And then there's movement behind you, or somebody's waving their arms trying to get your attention because, someone wants to talk to you. And it pops up and you get the little video, and then you can, in a controlled way, remove your headset and hold a conversation without getting the surprise.
I really like Eric, but he is so easy to kind of push in a direction, and then he goes full tilt boogie in whatever direction you want. Gary mentions in the chat room a lot of use cases for setting up a phone somewhere and then have a live video feed to the headset, like leaving your phone in the men's room and walking out and
I would
having a
think that
live
would be
video.
too far. I think that's too far away.
Okay, you still haven't sold me on what's the app called? Mirror Vision.
Yeah. And you can tap the screen and switch cameras. So if you put it up on a tripod, you can switch between looking one way and looking the other way. So if you're in one of those cubes where there's two entrances, or like a hallway where people come in and then a door behind you, you can see them both.
I still like the idea of mounting it on the back of your head, shooting video, and then like running with it. Because what you're going to see on the screen is you running away from from
From
what's
whatever.
behind you. Yeah.
I'd want to record
Yeah.
that.
Well, we've obviously run out of gas. David, why don't you tell us a little bit tell folks where they can find you, and
Yes.
we'll close out the show.
Well, thanks for having me again. I appreciate it. You can find me at In Touch with iOS and intouchwithios.com. Both these gentlemen are going to be on the show this week, and Marty is every week. And who knows, I might get Eric to kind of twist his arm to come on as regularly as well. So, but you also can go to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/intouchwithios. I'm on Mac Voices Live as well as these two gentlemen on Tuesday nights with Chuck Joyner. And then I'm on the Mac show with Marty, who's just joined us recently on the British Tech Network on Fridays. And I'm on social media, Dave G65, pretty much everywhere, but I pretty much focus on Blue Sky and Mastodon.
All right, great. Eric, where can folks find you?
Much of the time on Mastodon at eabolden@mas.to or at eabolden at techhub.social. And then, of course, with you on Mondays and with everybody on Tuesdays and sometimes on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Depending on which OSs you want to look at.
We covered all.
Yeah. You can find me here on Monday nights with Eric and great guests like David and Daniel when he can make it. It's great to have him in there too. And then Tuesdays with Chuck on Mac Voices. And I do a bunch of shows at this point. I'm enjoying them. But you can find out about them on thepodtalk.net. And I was at the doctor today, and the doctor was telling me how dangerous it is to have all of this technology. Because he was trying to do an EKG on me, and it wasn't working. And he's like, "Take your watch off," because I had an Apple Watch, and take my ring off because I had one of these things. And so I kind of explained to him. He said, "You just don't need to wear that. You don't need to carry that stuff with you all the time." I said, "You know what I do with my evenings? I spend it with Dave Ginsburg, and I spend it with Eric Bolden talking about this stuff." So he was not amused. My wife was like, "See." So you can find out all the stuff that I'm into on thepodtalk.net. And we hope to see you at MacStock Conference and Expo.com. And even if you can't travel there, you can take advantage of the virtual programs because all of that will be recorded and will be streamed for you, on demand as you want to watch certain presentations. And there are a lot of presentations and a lot of good presentations. Being there is just so much fun. But if you don't and you still want to get all the great information, MacStock Conference and Expo.com. It's happening in July 11th, 12th, and 13th. And we'll all be there. And if you're not there, join us virtually. Take a look at it because it's a great show. It's been 9 years now. Is it really
10 years with the pandemic? But
yeah.
This will be my 9th year of all the in-person events I've spoken at. So.
Yeah. I don't know why does he cut out the 10th year? Why does he kind of negate the,
I think whatever. It's 2020 and 2021 has got skipped. So really it's probably 8 of the 10 years. Think about it.
Yeah. Anyways, it's a great time. Want to thank Dave for being here tonight. Eric, always a blessing to have you. And thank you for tuning in. If you're listening to us or watching us, we'd love to hear from our listeners. If you have ideas or you want to join an episode, say you're a Vision Pro person and you just want to come in as a guest and comment on some of these articles that we find for the week, just email us at visionprofilespodcast@gmail.com. It's always good to mix it up. And I'll just create another square for you. And we'll have you join us on eCam. Our bumper music is Free Jazzy by Steve Combs, courtesy of the Free Music Archive. Learn more about us and the Vision Profiles podcast at our website, thepodtalk.net. Spread the word to other visionaries. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.